You are not the samurai. That is the first thing you need to understand. You live inside the castle. You sleep beneath its roof. You eat its food. You wear its colors. But when the fighting starts, nobody gives you a sword and tells you to defend the walls. You have other jobs. Carry water, move supplies, clean armor, deliver messages, prepare food, stay out of the way. You have spent years learning how to become almost invisible. Today, that skill might keep you alive. The morning begins normally. You wake before sunrise. The castle is quiet. Not peaceful, quiet. There is a difference. You hear footsteps in the corridor, a servant carrying firewood, someone opening a storehouse, a horse stamping somewhere in the courtyard. You start your work. There's rice to prepare, water to carry, weapons to move. Your lord's household has its own rhythm. Everyone knows where they belong. The samurai have their weapons, the officers have their orders, the servants have their duties, and you have yours. Then you notice something strange. Nobody is talking very much. A few men are standing near the wall, looking outward. You cannot see what they are looking at. You keep working. Then you hear it. A horn. One short blast. Then another. You stop. Nobody explains anything. You look toward the courtyard. Men are running. Not walking, running. That is when you understand. The castle is under attack. Suddenly, every boring job you hated yesterday becomes important. Water, food, cloth, rope, arrows, everything has to move. And you are now part of the machinery keeping the castle alive. You grab a bucket, then another. You run. The courtyard has changed. A few minutes ago, people were working. Now, men are putting on armor. Horses are being moved. Weapons are being distributed. Orders are being shouted. You see samurai preparing themselves. Their faces are different now. Calm, focused, almost frighteningly calm. You realize something uncomfortable. They know what they are supposed to do. You don't. Your job is simply to keep moving. So you do. You carry water toward the defenders. Then you are sent back for more. Then food, then bandages, then arrows, then water again. There is no grand speech, no heroic music, no moment where somebody tells you that you are about to become part of history. There is only work, fast, relentless work. Then the first impact hits the castle. You feel it before you understand it, a deep crack. Dust falls from the ceiling. Someone shouts. You freeze. For half a second, nobody moves. Then everyone moves at once. You run toward the courtyard. Outside, smoke is rising beyond the walls. You still cannot see the attackers clearly, but you can hear them. Shouts, drums, metal, the sound of people moving somewhere beyond the walls. The castle suddenly feels much smaller. You used to think the walls were enormous. Now they feel like a thin line between you and everything outside. You were ordered to carry supplies toward one of the defensive positions. You pick up a bundle. It is heavier than you expected. You run. An arrow strikes the wooden structure nearby. You stop. You stare at it. It takes your brain a moment to understand what you're looking at. An arrow. It came from outside. You are not watching a battle. You are inside one. You keep running. That is the strange thing about fear. It doesn't always make you stop. Sometimes it makes you work faster. You reach the defenders, drop the supplies, turn around, go back. Again, again, again. Hours begin to disappear. The castle becomes a machine, and every person inside it is one of its moving parts. Someone carries arrows, someone carries water, someone repairs damaged equipment, someone cooks, someone treats the wounded. Someone carries messages from one section to another, and somewhere in all of this, people are dying. You see the first wounded samurai being carried inside. He's still wearing his armor, but the armor doesn't look impressive anymore. It looks heavy, awkward, like something that has become a burden. You help carry him. His blood gets onto your hands. You have no idea what to do with that fact, so you keep working. Outside, the attack continues. The defenders answer. The castle shakes. Smoke enters through openings. The air becomes hot. Your mouth is dry. You drink water, then realize you are supposed to be carrying it. You put the bucket down. You look at the water. You take another sip. Then you run. By afternoon, the castle no longer resembles the place you woke up in. The corridors are crowded, the floors are dirty, people are shouting, some are injured, some are exhausted, others are trying desperately to remain calm. You pass a room where several women are gathered. Nobody is speaking. They are listening, waiting for the next sound. That may be the worst part, waiting, because every time the castle becomes quiet, you wonder what comes next. Then you hear another impact. Everyone moves again. You are sent toward the storage area. There's a problem. Supplies are running low. That sentence frightens you more than the arrows did, because arrows can be fired, enemies can be fought, but once the food is gone, everyone starts losing. You begin to count. Rice, water, arrows, bandages, everything has a limit. And the castle has to survive until help arrives. If help arrives. You don't know whether it will. Nobody tells you. You carry another load toward the defenders. Halfway there, you hear shouting. The attackers have reached another section. People start moving in the opposite direction. You don't know where to go. For the first time that day, your invisibility stops helping you. Everyone is confused. You stand in the middle of the corridor holding supplies. A samurai runs past, then another. Someone grabs your shoulder. Move. You move. You don't ask where. You simply follow. The fighting gets closer. You can hear metal striking metal. You hear men shouting. Then the sound changes. A scream. Not a battle cry. A scream. You keep your eyes down. You have learned something important. There are things you can survive seeing and things you cannot. So you focus on the floor. One step, another. Keep moving. You reach the next position, drop the supplies, turn around, and suddenly you see something through an opening. The attackers, for the first time, they are real now, not distant sounds, not shadows beyond the wall. People, men moving toward the castle. You realize how many of them there are. Your stomach drops. The stories you heard about war were always numbers, hundreds, thousands, armies, battles. Numbers make war feel abstract. Standing here, you understand the truth. Every number is a person, and every person is moving toward you. You run back inside. Night begins to fall, but the fighting doesn't stop. The darkness makes everything worse. You cannot see the walls clearly. You cannot see what is happening outside. You can only hear it. Drums, shouting, footsteps, the occasional impact. The castle is lit by firelight. Shadows move across the walls. People whisper. Some pray. Some sharpen weapons. Some simply sit. You are exhausted. Your legs hurt. Your hands are dirty. You have been running for hours. You want to sleep, but you cannot because you are still needed. Someone gives you another task. Carry water. Again. You almost laugh. Water. After everything that happened today, you're still carrying water. But that is what history rarely tells you. Battles are not only decided by warriors, they are sustained by thousands of small, ordinary actions. Someone has to bring the food. Someone has to move the arrows. Someone has to carry the wounded. Someone has to keep the fires burning. Someone has to clean the blood from the floor. And sometimes that someone is you. Near midnight, the castle becomes strangely quiet. You stop. You listen. Nothing. For the first time since morning, there is no shouting. You walk toward an opening. Outside, the night is almost completely dark. You can see fires in the distance. The enemy is still there, waiting. You realize you have survived the first day, but you don't know if you've survived the attack. Tomorrow could be worse. The castle could fall. The attackers could break through. Your lord could die. Your friends could die. You could die. And nobody knows what tomorrow will bring. You sit down against a wall. For a few seconds, you allow yourself to stop. You think about your life before today. It was not glamorous. You were a servant. You carried things. You cleaned things. You waited for people who were more important than you. You probably complained about it. Now you would give almost anything to have that boring life back. Because yesterday, being invisible meant nobody noticed you. Today, being invisible helped you survive, and tomorrow it might not be enough. You look toward the sleeping quarters. People are lying wherever they can. Some are injured, some are still awake, some will never wake up. You close your eyes. Then you hear footsteps. Someone is coming. You open your eyes. Another order, another task, another bucket. You stand because the castle is still alive, and as long as the castle is alive, someone has to keep it running. You are not the samurai. You will not be remembered for the duel. You will not have your name carved into a monument. You will probably never appear in the story people tell about this bottle. But without people like you, the warriors could not fight. The walls could not hold. The wounded could not be moved. The fires could not burn. The food could not reach the men defending the castle. History remembers the sword. It remembers the armor. It remembers the lord standing on the wall. But beneath all of that was another army. The servants, the cooks, the messengers, the cleaners, the water carriers, the people who ran toward danger because somebody had to. You were one of them, and when the castle came under attack, you discovered something nobody had bothered to tell you. Survival doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like carrying a bucket through a burning corridor. Sometimes it looks like keeping your head down while arrows strike the walls. Sometimes it looks like doing the same miserable job you did yesterday while everything around you is falling apart. And if you are lucky, you wake up the next morning, you pick up the bucket, and you start again.